welcome to the client prescription. Welcome to diagnosing your future clients' needs. We're going to start with kind of talking about flow. Flow has been kind of one of the biggest secrets to my business success. And it's one of those things that sounds so, mystical and vague and mysterious and kind of like something we can dismiss because it's not strategy. It's not science. It's not sound. But flow is what keeps everything moving forward. And that's what we're going to be creating as the foundation of your client prescription. That path for your clients to keep moving forward towards their transformation at whatever rate best suits them and getting all of the pieces that they truly need to get to the level that they want to get to. I call this a client transformation stream because it's really, they're flowing forward towards their own transformation at their own pace. You can think of this as a revenue stream or an offer flow. It's similar. It just has a little bit of tweaks, so it's more about their transformation on their own timing. But we really want to be telling a story of our clients' growth and of our clients' needs. And that's what we're going to be doing in this, allowing our clients to decide where they are in their journey, to pick and choose exactly what they need to get to the level that they need to get to next. And we want to give them that freedom so that they can grow and they can actually implement what we're giving to them, rather than giving them a temporary fix or a Band-Aid. Nobody wants that. So this is more than just thinking about what you do and what you could create to sell around it. This is really about giving them a full picture of, this is how I create transformation and this is what your life could look like. So with this process, we're going to be creating a stream. And that stream is going to be, at least 2 products. It could be 2 to 4 products that really flow together around one transformation for our clients so that they can get to wherever they are supposed to get to, and so that their momentum can keep moving us forward. That way it's a win-win for everybody. So we can dive in a little bit. So yes, your client prescription is you telling your client's transformation story through that journey of offers. You directing them through all of the stepping stones and the milestones that they need to get to so that they can integrate. And knowing that not everybody is going to follow the exact same path, because that would be really boring. We're not all in the same place. We don't all have the same goals and intentions. Why would everyone follow the same path? People may come in at a different place. People may not need all the extra add-ons, but we want to have these different stepping stones so that that path can be created in the way that they want while still taking a minimum amount of energy from us. Okay, and everything begins with a transformation for your clients. And if we're not creating a transformation, what are we creating? Give you a second, you can think about it. I would say if you're not creating a transformation, you just created a dead end in your business. And we don't want people to come to dead ends, because then, you get to the end of the dead end street and you turn your music down so you can focus and figure out where you are, where to go next. And you're confused and you're frustrated. And ultimately that doesn't lead to good decision making. It may not lead to you getting where you're supposed to go. It might, but it might not be as smooth of a transition as you'd like, when we could just give them a smooth transition and give them options. We want them focused on that transformation so they know where they're going, we know what to expect, and it's just about giving them a unique journey along the way. To do this, we need to actually know who our clients are. And this is a part that may not feel fun, or you may feel like you already know. Maybe you do. We always have to start with our clients. And I don't mean, that Sally has 2.5 kids and has a white picket fence and dreams of this and dreams of that. That's not exactly what we're going for. Often you'll find that people try to tell you you need all sorts of details that you don't really need. It's more of knowing, what are they interested in? And what do they need growth in? How can you support them through that? We don't need to get hung up on all of those other pieces. What we do need to know is who they are, where they're struggling, where they want to be, and what transformation is going to best get them there. And some of these pieces can be really simple. Who they are doesn't have to be, again, their life story, because that's going to be very different. And that's often where we can trap ourselves into thinking, well, all of my clients are different. They might be. They're all individual human beings. But there's a theme, I promise you. And we can actually, let's see, can use, me as an example. So here are our questions. Who are your clients? Where are they struggling now? Where do they want to be next? What transformation is going to support them in getting there? So we have that. Let's take a look at, people who may be drawn to me. So they may consider themselves heart-centered or purpose-driven entrepreneurs. They may not actually like those terms because it may be a little too fluffy or a little too vague for them, but they do recognize with them. They do agree that they're creating something on impact. Where they may be struggling, selling consistently and easily. And that doesn't matter what part of their business they're at. It doesn't matter if they're just getting started or if they have been doing this for a long time and are making, whatever they would consider bank. It still feels too hard, or it still feels inconsistent. So where they want to be next, booking out their business without having to exhaust themselves, without having to do all the things, without feeling like their week is an endless to-do list that they're checking off or scratching off, or even worse, not doing and dragging to the next day or writing on the next day, because we've all done it. That's exhausting, and you can only do it for so long before you get burned out. I am the queen of assigning myself too many things to do, and then I have to look back at do I actually even want to do these things? Nope. And what transformation is going to get them there? So for me, especially if you're here, that transformation is helping them create the cohesion and flow between their offers so that we're not creating those dead ends I was talking about. So that if a client's coming into your world, they have somewhere to go next that's right for them. And there are going to be outliers, so this isn't necessarily a one size fits all. But so the majority of people are having that flow, they can get to what they need next. And you can always adjust the flow. You can add more elements to it after it's stable. You can make it longer, but so that we have that consistent and cohesive place to send people. So hopefully that makes it easier. We can also dig in a little bit deeper with all of this, because if you're getting stuck and you're saying, maybe I don't know who my clients are, or I don't know where they're struggling, you do. It's just maybe not in words or in the terms that you think of. If you're not sure how to, map it out, we want to think. So when we think about our clients, it's, maybe put an adjective in front. Maybe maybe it's creative entrepreneurs. Maybe it's spiritual entrepreneurs. Maybe it's a specific gender. You can start thinking of that. But also, when I get stuck, I like to come back to service. So how do you serve? What are those ways that you are serving? What does that look like? What is the impact you are trying to make on the world? You can journal these questions out, or you can, just talk out loud. I sometimes like to grab Voxer and send myself a voice note. So when you replay it, you can hear what sounds comfortable to say. If you're introducing yourself, what are the pieces that sound right and sound comfortable? What do people ask for your help with? And that can be another thing, because you want to think about what are the pieces with all of this that you enjoy? What are the things that you could do all the time? What are the things you could talk about all the time? And that's going to be the kind of consistent themes we're looking for. Let's also think about what are the things that you find yourself repeating over and over and over. For me, basics of human design is one of them. Basics of, how to sell in an aligned way, how to sell easily. And whenever you're repeating something, that's a sign that you need to be creating something with it so that you're not wasting your energy just going over it again and sending people to random places rather than focusing and putting them where makes the most sense for them to go. We want to grab those opportunities and we want to take them. Okay. And really, we want to dive into what is the first thing your clients really need to shift? They may think it's one thing. What is it actually, if we dive in from your perspective, what is it? And I want you to be really honest when you're thinking about this. What do they actually need? We can look at it in a moment. What do they want to shift? But knowing their needs is going to take you a little bit further, and we just have to blend the two together in some capacity, because this is honestly one of the reasons and one of the things that I see where people don't reach their goals or reach them as easily as they want. And it could be something like, let's see, maybe they want to just reach their next, income goal, but they think they have to do it through this one method because this one person they follow does it. And so it's like, well, I need to, whatever. I need to work on my Instagram, or I need to work on my this. And we as humans, we put our blinders on. That's okay. But maybe there's something else that actually needs to happen before they do that to make that effective, or before they do anything else to make that effective. What is that thing that's keeping them from moving forward? And, we know what they want. We know where they want to go, but there's usually always something slow. It could be fear. It could be resistance. It could be there's something that they need to learn, something that they need to implement. They may just need accountability. But what is that thing that's going to create the most growth for them once they have it? And then we also want to know, what is it that they actually, want to shift first, so we can provide ideally a little bit of the need and the want, and that's going to give them the biggest boost of momentum and create the biggest shifts, the biggest transformation for them. And I'll give another example. So say you're a business coach, easy enough, and say their next income goal is what they're going towards. Maybe that's booking out their business, maybe it's 10K months, 20K months, 6-figure launch, whatever it is. They have this big goal, or what seems like a big goal to them. And so that's their thing that they like, I need to shift whatever to make this happen. But maybe that's not actually the thing. What could be the thing that they need to get there is more of, they need to connect to who their client is on a deeper level so they can speak in a way that their client understands. And that could be messaging, that could be copy, all sorts of things. Maybe it's that their sales pages don't talk enough about where they are, where they're struggling, and creating that journey so that their client can look at it and see, oh, hey, that's me. That's what I'm doing now. Oh, well, that's what it could be. Well, I want that. Oh, well, here's the thing that helps me get that. Of course I'm going to go in. Maybe there's a step that's missing. Maybe they're leaving themselves out so people don't understand why to trust them. Maybe their clients need some mindset work to remove some old patterns. There's a gazillion things here. There's a billion options of what could propel them forward. And it's not necessarily the fact that they need to focus on, 10K months, 20K months, whatever. It's not just pushing themselves further. There's an actual thing behind that needs to change in order for them to get where they want to go. And that's what we want to understand, so that we can really help them make that transformation. And don't worry, we're going to make this easier. So if you need to, you can grab your little PDF and scribble down some ideas in the notes. You can pause me if you need to. But who is your client? Where are the places in transformation that can help them reach their goals and intentions? What are their goals? And just make sure you have some ideas on that. And it's okay if it's not concrete at the moment. We can keep digging in and shift those as we go. But I want you to have some ideas before we keep going forward, so that you can see this big picture. So I'm going to take a drink real fast and let you guys pause or grab your notebooks, and then we're going to talk more about what we are doing. Okay. So we have to think about, before we throw an offer at our clients, what do our clients really need? We've already started that thought process, right? So we're already kind of there. We just want to be thinking about that and making sure that that is what we're going with. So like we just said, maybe they want to make that monthly income goal, but there's, connection that could be an issue. There could be the sales problem. There could be the messaging. There could be mindset. What is the area that you need to focus on, or what is the area that you could focus on to highlight what they need in order to get what they want. And that's going to be our kind of our sweet spot. I can give another example of, spellbinding sales. That's my signature sales course. Obviously, it is appealing to people who want to make selling easier, but there's also different layers in it. So it is about particular things that they need, whether that is understanding, deeper level of big product flow, understanding different levels of working with clients, understanding and strengthening their foundation of their business. Maybe it is fine-tuning how they sell. There's all sorts of these little pieces that are the thing that needs to shift in order to get to where they want. So we want to think about, how do we make what your clients need irresistible? Because people don't always want what they need. We know this, human nature, right? I am not somebody who personally just wants to go eat some kale. Arugula, sure. Kale, no. How do we make that kale or whatever it is irresistible? And for me, I think it's about serving with layers, not giving people the whole shebang, because we know who our clients are now. We have some ideas where they're going to need some support, but we have to understand that we're not going to change everything for them instantly. We're not waving the magic wand and poof, your life is better, because that doesn't actually serve them, even if they think it would. And we can have a great example of this. Lottery winners, more likely to go bankrupt than the average person. More likely 3 to 5 years after whatever they won to go bankrupt. Why is that? They just got, everything paid off. Maybe they have a new house, they have a new car, whatever. Isn't that what they wanted? But why would it lead them down this path? And some of this, could be mindset issues. So you can't fix a problem with the same frequency that you created it with. And part of it is the speed. There was no integration time. They was just poof, they got everything they wanted. There was no integration. There was no learning. There was no necessarily journey for them. So what if instead of winning the lottery, imagine that. So you can close your eyes if you want. So let's say first they learned a system to pay off their debt, and it uses, let's say, 10% of their income. And then they already had that process down. So then it's okay, well, I paid off my debt. I have 10% more income than I had previously because I was using that to pay my debt. And then what if they learned how to invest that into stocks or, other investment? I obviously do not know many investments besides stocks and IRAs. So what if they did that? And then the next time, what if they won the lottery after they'd already shifted those things, after they'd already integrated? Do you think it might be different? Because I suspect they'd be less likely to declare bankruptcy because they're in a different place. They have a different relationship with money. They have a different relationship with themselves. They've integrated. They are further along their journey. And it's not, oh, we skipped way ahead, so now we have to backtrack and go bankrupt because we couldn't actually hold on to the thing we thought we wanted. We want to make whatever we are providing to our clients integratable so that they can truly process. We can't skip to, hey, you can create this. It has to be, you have to understand what you want. You have to know it. You have to be able to apply it to your life. You can think of Bloom's taxonomy. We have to be able to take them through the steps so that they can actually use what we are giving it to them. Our job is to deliver them to the next stepping stone. And wherever they are, we need to find that next place where they can stop and breathe for a moment, feel like they've made progress, and still be ready to keep going forward to the next one. And what we're looking for with this, we want there to be some kind of quick wins. We want them, that's a marketing term, but we want them to be generating shifts, feeling like they've gained momentum. It's going to help with their morale. It's going to keep them moving forward. It's going to make them more excited about doing the thing. We want them excited about doing the thing, which means they're going to stick with it. And especially if they've been stuck for forever. One of the things that I notice is I can have clients who come in and haven't made sales in months or years and be ready to give up. And then they start doing the processes and start doing the work. And all of a sudden they have, even if it's just one one-to-one client, that is going to move them forward, and suddenly they're going to be full rather than if we try to get them full instantly. we have to have that one come in first so they can absorb what's happening. They'll pay more attention to what you're teaching, and it just creates, a better evolution. And with this, we want them to gain momentum. So that allows them to move forward. There's less resistance, less pushback, less chances of them reverting to their old habits, which is why we need them to integrate. So that way they can keep moving forward, keep applying new things without it being exhausting or without it feeling like a habit that they have to keep trying to do. Nobody wants a habit that we have to keep reminding ourselves. For me, it's like, I've tried doing daily, different practices. It never works because I never can get myself to a place where that's integrated. Daily, EFT, daily meditation just doesn't work for me. I can never integrate it. Maybe there's a system out there for me, and maybe you're working with clients like that, but how do you get them to integrate it? And then after they've integrated, we need to get them to that stepping stone of being able to look at where they've come and reflect, see, okay, celebrate. This is what's happened. This is what has changed. This is what has shifted. This is what I think I need next. It may be different, but this is what I think I need. And this is a win-win for both of you because A, they understand with your help, this is what they've achieved. But also that helps them think, oh, well, maybe I need something else with this person. And if it's aligned, that's going to be great. We want these stepping stones to really be based around how they're going to transformation or how they're going to transform. So I like to think of it as it is their smallest next transformation need. And that's what we're taking them forward. What is the next thing that's going to help them transform? We can add in extra layers for people who need to go deeper later. But what we are trying to get them to is, your clients, if you know they're here, what is that first stepping stone? What is that first thing that they need to transform? And that is going to be the foundation of our client prescription. We're going to create that irresistible entry point of this is the thing that is going to shift things for you. This is the thing that's going to create transformation. From here, we can move forward. So to craft our client prescription, we have to know, what are these elements of transformation? What is being shifted for them? Where are they struggling? Where do they want to go? And then it's, how are we delivering each piece of content, each piece of transformation? What does this look like? What problems are being solved in each of them? Because we have to be really clear how we're helping them, how we're getting them moving forward. So let's think about transformation. That's the important piece of all of this, right? So we have some ideas already where your clients need support. If you need to grab that piece of paper or your PDF, whatever, grab it. Or what's going to help move them forward the most? So you can collect your possibilities, see where they need support, and then consider what is the best stepping stone to take them to next? Where is the best place to lead them to? And we can kind of hone in a little bit with what is that one result that they actually need right now? And that's going to be something that's really important to have because that one thing is going to be the core of your messaging. It's going to be on your sales page. It's going to be how you bring people there. They need to understand if we can describe it in one sentence, 2 sentences, what is the one thing that's shifting? And then we want to create those manageable stepping stones or milestones. And it's like, what is the minimum that they need to create and really process, integrate that transformation that we want them to have? And when we say minimum, just put this on your back burner. When we say minimum, it's not about only giving them just enough. It's about giving them enough that they don't get overwhelmed or they actually do the work. So it's finding that middle ground of what do they need to know? What do they need to apply? What do they need to do in order for the work to stick versus, maybe they don't need all the extra fluff at first. Or, maybe what they really need is that accountability to help keep them moving forward. We want to be aware of that so that we aren't getting them distracted with all of the other pieces that could affect things, but we're still keeping them throwing spaghetti at the walls, and we don't want to be doing that. So we can come back to the questions that we've kind of already asked. What's that one thing that they can focus on that shifts them moving forward, and what's going to do it the fastest? What do they want? What do they think they want that's going to move them forward? What do you see them needing before being ready to fully move into that irresistible place, into that first stepping stone? And what do they need to know? What do they need to do in order to get them where they want to be? And those are kind of going to be like the foundation questions that we're throwing out here. And it's from here that we're going to break this down into just a little focus so that we can create a transformation that they can see in themselves, because they've got to be able to see it. So we can give them an example, or I'll give you an example, and we can know that there can be other little pieces that attach to this. We can write them down, but we don't have to focus on them. They'll be part of the prescription later, or we can, use them in other places. We want to make sure we've got one really clear focus. So say you're a copywriter, because that's an easy thing to do. We're going to be using this copywriter. I should have named her because we're going to be using her all throughout the client prescription. So you're a copywriter. Okay. Your clients want more sales, more publicity. They want to fill their programs. So your focus is helping them create simple and easy sales pages with copy that help them get new clients quickly. Cool, right? And you decided you're going to do this through, a Mad Lib style template, because you know what they need is they need more clients for their smaller offers, for their products. They need something that's simple, that is efficient, that leads people through it, maybe even a format to how to make it pretty, but it needs to be simple, it needs to be fast, and it needs to get clients coming in. So the first question is okay, this is how I'm doing. Is it irresistible? Is that something that somebody is going to really, really need and really, really want? But then you may realize, okay, so they also might need help with, later they might need help with doing something similar for a more complicated offer, like a super complicated one-to-one, or for personalized one-to-one for a mastermind. They may also need help in the meantime with things like creating bios that actually, show them as an expert, or writing social posts that connect with people and that create sales. They may need help with, how do you launch a thing and have an email sequence that brings people in? How do you write Facebook ads that grab attention? And those are going to be all the things. It's not the one focus, but it is something I could help people with it, and we could put it over here. So you may have your little sub list that is very similar of we're putting it over here, and that's okay. Just kind of write it down. Okay. So once you have your transformation, we need to know how you're going to deliver it. Our copywriter example friend already knows. Cool. But let's dig a little deeper so that we can figure out what makes the most sense for you and what makes the most sense for your clients. So we can think about, are you creating a product? And that could be something I would consider this to be a mini course. So it could be a mini course. It could be a workbook. It could be an ebook. Are you delivering a service? Do they need one-on-one or potentially group access to you? Are you creating a membership or potentially a subscription style community where they get a longer term support, but it may not be as customized, or it's at least customized to the group? Different options. And if you're still not sure, it's okay. We can break it down a little further to dig in. So the structure that you choose may depend on, how do your clients learn? What do they have time for? How can they learn? If you're speaking to super busy parents, for example, they're probably not going to learn through 3-hour workshops. Just a thought. They may need something that's in more bite-sized pieces. Maybe they want something that's only audio. If you're working with, doing some sort of internal growth or healing, maybe they need workbooks or journal prompts in order to start moving through whatever they're, healing, whatever they're giving attention to. So what's going to help them create those results? And that might mean that they need accountability, or they need to have questions. They need to have reflection. Maybe it is that they need an extra tool, like a spreadsheet or, a calendar to go through it. It also depends on how much time you have. Because if you're creating an irresistible, entry point, we want it to be something that a good number of people can come into. And we don't want it to be, well, I can only take 3 people in because I only have time to do 3 of these sessions a month. That's probably not the most efficient thing. How could you, use that same concept and do it in a different way to value your time? In that case, I would say, if it still feels like you need to be there live, maybe it is a group thing where you can do something live 3 times a month and have multiple people there. Maybe that would be a membership. Lots of options. Also want to consider, you don't have to know this now, but a rough price range for your offer so that you have an idea, what do you need in return for this level of support? Because if you're creating it and you're like, well, I think it'd be great to have one-on-one time with them, but your one-on-one time is, $400 an hour, and you want to charge less than that because you want it to be an irresistible price for your audience, and that's going to be different depending what your audience is, then the structure has to shift. And don't worry too much about pricing. You can check your bonuses for the pricing to profit formula. It's there. We can dive into it more. But we do want to make sure we have that kind of vague idea of, okay, this is what I really need to get in return for this level of support, so that you feel like you're getting enough support and you're not cranky about delivering this, because that was not fun. So we can go back to our copywriter friend. Again, I should have named her. So, she had that idea about the Mad Lib style template that walks you through creating the sales page, all of that. But not the only option. So other things that she could have done or could do, maybe it's an ebook or a workbook that has them journal on different parts of the sales page. Maybe there's a masterclass that teaches some points of like what a great sales page is. And, maybe she reviews a few on there so you can see, hey, this is what this looks like. Maybe she offers a low price, I'll audit your sales page that already exists and help you tweak, 3 things or 5 things so that it gets more sales. Maybe there's a mini course that guides people through, each individual section of a really great sales page. And maybe that's, I don't even know, like a 3-month thing or a 2-month thing or a 1-month thing. I don't know. Maybe there's a short challenge where people are guided through making one change to their sales page or creating one thing on their sales page a day. And the question is, what's going to help her clients reach that goal of creating that really easy sales page that sells and connects with their clients? What's going to be the most efficient for her, for them? What's going to feel the easiest? And some of these other things are great, but a mini course may feel like a lot of work. They just want to make a sales page and sell. A masterclass may not go in depth enough, and it may be too much to absorb all at once. An ebook or a workbook, that may work. It may also be leaving a little bit too much up to them, and it may feel like, well, I've already done this before. An audit helps them with something that's already existing, but it doesn't help them with that, what do I do when I have to create something new? So that template for her could be the easiest option because she's providing them that place to start with. And then she could always come back and offer an audit after they've done it, but it is that starting place. So you can kind of run through these scenarios after you have all your options and think about what is going to help your clients reach whatever their intended goal or whatever your intended goal for them, what's going to help them reach that the easiest. Other things that I like to think on is, do you want to be present live at this point at the entry point? For me, I don't. There is no right or wrong answer, but it depends on your business structure, what your clients need, where your business is, all the things. So for me, I want entry points to my business to be not, live with me. Part of it so that people get used to how I teach. They get used to my personality, creates more space for the rest of my business, and I have more time and energy for my clients and for my life. At the beginning of my business, I probably would have been present just so I could create a deeper connection. So again, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just very dependent on where you are in life, in business, with your clients, what makes the most sense. I have small children. So it makes sense that, no, I want to save my time when I can go in really deep with clients. And the next question is, okay, so what's going to help your clients take action with the material used? What's going to really help them process? What's going to help them integrate? And again, there's not exactly a right or wrong answer here. And we can use the client prescription as an example. I would call this a mini course, as I already said. And originally, when I was talking about it to, one of my clients about, okay, this process, I'm thinking about creating something from it. The idea was, well, what about just doing it in a quick master class and then seeing, how much deeper you need to go? And I was like, okay, well, let me think about it. And I thought about where my clients tend to need support. And they also need support getting clear on who they're speaking to, really specifically who their clients are and what that transformation can be. So I knew I needed to go deeper in those areas than necessarily just one little masterclass, because we can't also talk about how to deliver the prescription or how to launch it and how to connect through the launch, which is kind of important, if we focus on those sections deep enough. And I wanted to make sure that the flows were strong and could be successful. Also really important, I don't believe in just helping you create something and then leaving you on your own. So I was like, okay, I know I have to have the launch piece built in. You need to know how to release this into the world, how to get attention to it. And so it quickly shifted to, it could be more intensive. It could be a very long program. Right now, I didn't want a long program because I think that it is really essential the way the world is right now that people get stable. So it was, okay, it's probably a mini course. I also knew I didn't want it to be like a high level service because I wanted something to prepare clients before working with me in a line structure. So if you already come in and you have your client prescription, we're going to get better transformation than if we're creating it brand new. Even if you only have a map, you're still going to get way further. And in an ideal world, I would love for all of my group clients to have a client prescription down and have an idea before they fully move into the group program and focus on how they're connecting with clients deeper and selling. It just smooths the process out for everyone. And also because I'm pregnant while creating this, so it was of course it can't be a service because I won't be available for a while. So that was my own philosophy. And I can give you another example using my own stuff just to make it easier. I know my business. So I have the quantum selling experience, which is a 6-day guided meditation. Each day you have a little lesson, a little meditation, and it works you through connecting with your clients, attracting in clients, really honoring what you do, and how to sell in a more aligned way. And for me, it's like, okay, the transformation is they're getting aligned on how they're selling and just in general, getting connected to their clients before they start selling so they can make sales easier. Great. I knew this one, I didn't need to be super involved. It could just be delivering that meditation daily. They connect to their energy, connect to their business's energy, connect to their clients, and get really super clear on what those next steps were. So that was the first part of like, okay, well, maybe I don't need to be complicated. The second part was, well, it would make sense for this to follow the same structure and the same process that I teach in my sales program so that it's I'm not creating anything new. It's the same process that I know works, that I've seen work a bazillion times, that, I am very clear that if we follow these steps in your own way, it'll work. Also, would have a really clear idea if somebody loved it, they're likely to know that they're going to be a better fit for my sales program because it's built on that same foundation and it's preparing them. So it's, again, it's that helping them self-diagnose what they need next and helping them flow into what's going to process. You may have different thoughts. You may have, ideas. It's okay. Just write them all down. We can hash them all out, but allow yourself to explore, well, what would this look like in a different structure? If you're not sure, then does that make sense for myself? Does that make sense for my client? And one of the things I want to think about, because I know some of you are going to be doing this in 30 days, we have the suggested timelines of 30, 60, and 90. If you're doing it in 30 days, you don't want to make this too much of an overachiever. So you could consider things like your structure could be an experience, like I just talked about with the quantum selling experience, where you deliver some sort of content, some sort of education or action, whatever, for, I would say, 3 to 7 days. And that could be, again, like a super mini course. It could be a paid challenge. It could be, like I dropped a meditation daily and it's a completely self-serve thing now. Maybe, depending on your structure, maybe it is a one-to-one session that's aimed around one type of transformation. So I would think of, really focused coaching. If we're using our copywriter example, like her audit would work great here because that's a place where people come in. She knows if they're coming in that they need copy help, but also you don't really need to prepare anything to create that or offer that. You can just do it. It could also be, a workshop, a masterclass, and add in a bonus of something you've already created so that there's something extra. But just having that little piece that's easy enough to create the once and then be able to move forward and keep implementing it. If you have longer time to create things, then you can create more, but just giving little options for little bites in case you want to be putting this together quickly. So of course, the thing that you have to make sure as we're doing all of this is, will this structure help them shift from where they are? And that's just something to ponder. We've already kind of talked about that. Is this the way to deliver it that's going to help them move? That's going to help them create results? No right or wrong answer necessarily. It's just you may have to explore things. You may have to test it out. This can be a great opportunity to bring in betas, or something that I do a lot is if you're in a group program, you get lots of free things from me because it's like hey, I created this thing. Y'all want to run through it first and tell me what you think? Cool. And then I can adjust and say, okay, well, I need this piece, or maybe instead of teaching it this way, I want to teach it this way. Maybe it needs, more accountability, and you can figure it out before fully running people through it. It's also okay for, an irresistible offer, if it's something you've done, it's the first time, to make people be aware, this is my first time doing it, and the next round may change. That's also okay for all offers. The story I tell my clients a lot, Spellbinding Sales, which is my signature sales program, started off as a less than 30-day thing. It was technically, I think, 13 days and like 2 question and answer days. And quickly realized, oh, hey, people can't take action on this when we're doing this much education so quickly. The next round became 6 months, and it was that same, okay, we spaced it out, but we added in homework and we added in extra pieces, and people still couldn't go through it that quickly. So now it's a 12-month program, and it is much more absorbable. I'm still seeing people get the same level of shifts. It's great, but it's okay to change things. Okay, so now we can start creating your client prescription. Yay! Or, mapping out your client transformation stream, whatever you want to feel about it, because we are creating that journey, that stream, and having those layers for them to basically cure their symptoms with. For me, I think of it as prescriptions are, they're not, yes, they're one thing, but if you think about, let's say you have an ear infection. If it's one level of ear infection, you might just get antibiotics, like little ear drops or whatever. If it's another level, they may give you an oral pill too. If it's another level, they may give you painkillers or, medicated cough syrup, like whatever. It depends on really what you need. And we want to be able to allow our clients to be able to self-assess, since we can't assess them, but customize it to what a person needs. And that means options. So a great client prescription is going to be customized to what they need right now, exactly where they are. We always want to be meeting our clients where they are, instead of trying to just kind of, push them to this point and being like, well, you should be here, so let's just move forward. No, we want to meet them where they are, and then we can adjust the process a little bit along the way. So I see this as 3 layers. We have our irresistible entry offer, which we already talked about. You may already have an idea what it is, or at least, possibilities for what it could be. And then we can have a tiny add-on, and then we can have the next step. So we know where they're flowing if they want a bigger transformation. So the irresistible place, their beginning, has to have, they're having enough transformation to feel satisfied, to be able to integrate it, and to get results. A tiny add-on is going to help them, just increase a little bit more, to add a little depth to what they're doing, to go one level deeper. And then the next step is like okay, what is the next level of this transformation? What could that look like? And we want to be able to have this flow and these layers so that, again, as we're guiding them through, say, the sales page, they can self-assess. And we can also know that we can add on pieces. This, the stream can go on for a very long time if we wanted it to, but this would be as far as I would take it at the moment. We want to keep it simple and allow for room. You can have kind of an idea of even, if there was a 4, where do they go after that? It's also going to depend on like what structures you're using when you're selling, which we'll talk about. Okay, so we have our irresistible entry offer. Most important place. This is what we need. This is the thing we've been thinking about. This is the one thing that our clients need to make that quick shift. So if you're here, the client prescription is what I decided was that one thing that my clients needed in order to create sustainable progress. From looking at everything, it was the people who aren't getting where they want to get to as fast, it's because they're focusing on too many things. So let's make sure they focus on stabilizing one piece of their business and doing it in a way where, it's building on itself so that they have more energy, and then we can add to it, or then we can create more of these, but getting that one place stable. So it's also, how can you create that quick win for your clients? How can you create results for them in a way where they're going to be able to recognize, hey, something shifted, because we need them to be able to know, hey, something shifted. I know I have personally paid for things, and it has taken, reflecting with somebody else for me to realize, oh, that's what that did for me. We don't necessarily want that, because that, can prevent somebody from understanding what they got, what happened. It may have them feeling like they weren't served. Not the greatest thing. We want them to know, hey, this happened. I'm excited. And also, how can we start, shifting their energy so they can have those focused results? Because remember, we're leading them towards that one thing, whether it is, let's see, a better sales page or more sales, or, understanding a particular aspect of themselves, being able to move forward with the next step of one thing, healing a particular trauma. Whatever our focus is, we want to make sure that everything is round, like, if we think of it as like a spoke or a wheel, it's the center, and then everything is circling around that one thing. And then we can have the tiny add-on. I think of this as the comfort bubble. It's kind of like a comfort blanket. It's the, if you just need one more little thing to make you feel really secure about what you're going towards, what is that thing going to be? What's going to help you deepen your results? What's going to make you feel secure, like you know enough, like you have enough in order to be able to move forward easily? Ideally, this is something that doesn't take a lot of effort out of you, because it can be something as simple as you put it on, like the checkout page, and there's not a full sales page, or maybe it's built into your program of like a, hey, if you need help with this, you can grab this little mini thing. You want it to just to be enough that, again, it's providing them a little bit of ease and a little bit of relief of like, there's one more thing that I don't have to figure out. And then we have the next step. And that's like okay, now what? So if someone wants that big transformation, what is that next thing that they need to work on to get them there? It's likely it's going to be still attached to that one focus of what they're doing, but it's just a little bit further, or it's helping them get to that big place. Not everyone's going to be ready for this immediately, and that's okay, because again, prescriptions are not, one size fits all. We want to make sure that if they're integrating faster, if they already know things, or if, for whatever reason, this is an area of focus for them, that we can help them and that it's already prepared and doesn't take, too much of our energy. And, this may be something that goes on your thank you page, or that gets offered to them once they've started working with you. And from there, you can still kind of have an idea of like, what's the next big picture thing? It could be one-to-one, could be a group program, could be, whatever makes the most sense. But it's just having one step look ahead at, what does their flow look like, and having that idea there for them. And if you need an example, great, you're in one. So we can use the client prescription. So the client prescription is that entry point. It is where you're going to get that big transformation. It's super, you can integrate it. It's easy enough to do. You can do it quickly. You can also go deeper if you want. You can add to it. You can use it again and again. So many things. And if you wanted an add-on, then there was the client prescription sales funnel generator. And it's like, okay, this makes sense. If you're creating flow between things, you might want something that feels ethical and easy to help create that flow. And, emails could be a good thing. You could also use it as part of social posts. And you could use it for all of the steps. To me, this was just the thing that made sense for me to add on, because you could add in some automation in between your offers. Also because my background is creating 6-figure sales funnels. So it made sense of just like an easy way to use my own expertise. Think about what are the things that you are good at, that you have great experience in, and what are the things that people come to you for that you could add in another layer of that comfort. So the next step, it's going to kind of depend on when you come into this. And we know the next step can change. We've already talked about that. That's okay. Depending on when you came into this, it might have been the quantum selling experience. You might have seen that on the thank you page. Maybe. Because, and to me, I'll explain, like, this makes sense because, connecting to your clients, creating alignment and selling easier also makes sense if you're getting this thing out here. You've made this beautiful thing that really helps create transformation, and you want to put it out into the world in the most aligned way. So that was one option. Depending on when you came in, it may have been a custom prescription audit if it's after I was pregnant. That way you can have me look at what you created in your client prescription and get feedback. Makes sense. Again, this is kind of similar to what we talked about with the copywriter, because if somebody's created something new to them, or just created something new in general, they may want feedback before they put it out in the world so that it is, as tested as it could be, or so they can tweak some things before they release it, and then they have a better idea of what to look for and what may need to shift. Lots of ideas. It may have also been something else. Again, like, the next step is going to change once you see what your clients need, what they're going through. When you get more information, it could also change depending on what your needs look like. If you suddenly have less time or you have more time, you may change this. It's entirely okay, but it's going to be depending on what serves them and what serves you. And from there can always be more flow. So there can be different layers that you can add in. If you're curious about what mine are, you can check out the Need to Go Deeper section or the What I Offer page and get an idea of what is that next picture. But there's your example. And if we go back to our copywriter friend, so she has her irresistible entry offer, and that would be that Mad Lib style sales template. As an add-on, she'd already talked about earlier, okay, so people are struggling with how to create sales posts that connect. So she could do a swipe file of, just looking back at easily, what were her most successful sales posts, and, showcase them, showcase why they worked, and make like a little, kind of like a little mini template from each of them. From there, maybe it's on her thank you page, maybe they get, flown into it through an email sequence, but then it's like, okay, so they may need help writing launch emails. So there could be a mini program around that to help them create launch emails that, really get momentum and really get success, and she's slowing people in it. And then for people who are really ready to dive in deeper, then she can have a mastermind around sales and copy and support them in that capacity and give them maybe some group mentorship, maybe one-to-one mentorship. It's going to depend, but she's building them all up to a place where the people who are ready to dive in and do the most work are going to get the most amount of her time. And that is ideally kind of what we're doing. It doesn't mean that the earlier offers can't have time with us, but again, we can see how the flow changes a little bit. Okay, so now it is your turn to start mapping out your prescription. You want to have an idea what your irresistible entry point is. What do your clients really need to start getting transformed? What do they need so they can get shipped? What do they need so they can get towards their goals? And then we can have an idea of the add-on. What is the thing that's going to make them feel more comfortable or make their life feel easier? What other lessons, processes, all of those things could enhance their growth, could make this happen a little smoother for them? And then that next step. I just think of this as what's going to make their progress, what's going to take it to the next level. So you can look at your little PDF and start jotting some ideas down and get ready, because once you have your prescription, you can start creating it, and then we'll talk about how to fulfill it to the world through checkout, through sales, and all of the fun things. Bye!